Hi, Amanda. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you on.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So how have things been going so far? Like, what have you been up to this year?
Things are good. So I released my first EP called Wild Woman, and I'm actually currently moving across the country right
Oh,
now. So I've been packing all week.
where are you moving to?
I'm moving from Bakersfield, California to Tennessee, like kind of on the Kentucky border.
Oh, nice.
Big move, but
Yeah, that is a big move. Well,
yeah,
good luck with your move.
thank you.
Well, let's get right into it. So I love your music. I think it's so cool. I really love what you're doing.
Thank
Um,
you.
so what made you get into music in the first place?
It's something I always kind of wanted to do. I started playing guitar when I was 15, and I didn't really start singing until recently, until a couple of years ago. And I kind of held myself back. So I'm turning 30 this year, and about a year ago, I kind of just decided to go for it because I realized the only person holding me back is me. Like, there's no point in not trying. So
Mhm.
I just decided to go for it, and I'm going to try to write as much as I can and release music and learn how to sing. And I've been really happy. It's been very fulfilling.
That's awesome. I love that like you're really going all in on it. And I can't believe you've only been singing like a few years. Like you're
Thank you.
so good. Like none whatsoever, or just sort of like
No,
pretended to?
I want to well, I would sing in the shower, like
Yeah,
stuff like that. But I started singing live like 2 years ago, and I was so shy I couldn't like project. So I'd be in the microphone like, ah.
yeah.
So like now I can project and stuff, but it was a
Yeah.
process.
Aw. So like what were some things that you did to kind of overcome that like
Hmm.
shyness?
Um, it was two things. One was just doing it a lot. And then the other thing, I kind of had this epiphany because I had really bad stage fright. And I kind of had this epiphany that it wasn't, for me at least, it wasn't really about confidence. It was kind of just about being vulnerable, just allowing myself to let that wall down and let people see who I really am. And just to show them how much I love this music. And that was when I started being more confident when I played. Um, all that advice, like, oh, just pretend to be confident, that never really worked for me.
No, I don't know if it really does work. Like it kind of
Yeah,
backfires a bit, I think.
right.
Awesome. And you play banjo as well, right?
A little bit, yeah. I haven't picked it up in a few months, but over quarantine, I was trying to learn some bluegrass banjo, like a scrub style.
Hmm.
I'm not the greatest at it, but every now and then I pick it up and mess around on it.
Awesome. Was music sort of like always part of your life growing up, even just like listening to it, or like, or was that
Yeah,
again kind of came later too?
yeah, I definitely always listened to it. My mom sang in church, so I always heard her sing. I didn't start singing until much later, but I was always around it, I guess.
Nice. Well, let's get to some of your music. So the
All
first
right.
song, yeah, the first song you have for us is called "Wild Woman" off your brand new EP off the same name. So what's the story behind that song?
So Wild Woman is a story song. It was actually inspired by a podcast, a character from a podcast called Old Gods of Appalachia. And it's like a horror anthology. It's really, really good. And they had this character, and she's sort of like a witch character. And she stands up against this like sort of big, evil, dark being and like overcomes it. And it was just a really cool story. So I ended up writing a song about her. I changed some of the things. It's loosely based on her, but
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
she's an inspiration. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And do you get a lot of inspiration from like other outside sources or?
Yeah, movies and books inspires me a lot. Other songs.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, let's get to that song. So here is Wild. So the fiddle in that song is so good, by the way. I love it.
Oh,
So
thank
cool.
you. That was the fiddler is my friend Justin Coleman, and he plays in a band called Fistful of Nickels, and they're all just amazing.
Cool. Well, so if you're listening, go check them out as well. So what made you get into songwriting?
um, so I did go to school for music. Um, I was trying to learn jazz guitar, and I wanted to be a composer. I wanted to compose for films. So I have a couple of compositions that I've never put out, but film composing is a really hard industry to get into. So it never worked out. And so I kind of just went to work, paid off my student loan, and then didn't really know what to do. And then when I started gigging again, that's when I got into songwriting. My fiance, Jake Newman, there's another artist named Tim Stiles. I started paying attention to their songwriting. Songwriting is really what they did. And it's really because of them that I got into it and I fell in love with it. And it's still composing, you know? So I feel like I haven't really lost that. I'm just doing it in a different way now.
Yeah, and do you find like you have more sort of freedom with songwriting now as opposed to composing? Like you're able to tell more stories and...
Yeah, I'm able to paint a picture in a different way. It is tough learning about like word choices because, you know, you can read a poem and it's beautiful, but when you sing it, it doesn't sound right, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it was tough learning how to like, you know, put words to song, but I do feel more free and I don't feel like as nervous doing this versus like academic music.
What was going to school like for jazz guitar?
You know, it was a lot of fun. There's something about playing when you're always kind of under a microscope that can be a little tough. Like, you know, you're working on this music all semester long, and then you have to do your juries and your professors, you know, they're just marking up the sheet music every time you mess up and then they give it back to you. So it's a different kind of performing. Like now when I perform, no one cares if I miss a note, you know? So I think it's a lot more free.
Has that helped you at all with your own music?
Yeah, I mean, you learn to get, you know, thick skin when you do that, but it has. And I think that before school, so I didn't know how to read music before I went to school. I learned like as an adult going to school. And I think what really helped me was rhythm because I just kind of played guitar alone in my room and I didn't really know how to play with a band. So learning about like tempo and rhythm and how to be a band leader is something I took with me from school, I think.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that would definitely cross over. And I know you said you're moving from Bakersfield, but what's sort of like the music scene like out there?
It's interesting. There's a lot of really good musicians that I'm friends with out here. And we have a history of country music, Bakersfield sound and, you know, rock and roll. And it's sort of coming back. People are trying to bring that back, but there's not much of a country music crowd like there used to be. So it can be a little difficult finding places to play where your music is, you know, wanted. So I'm hoping in Tennessee we have better luck with that.
Yeah. Well, you'll be fairly close to Nashville if you're on the Kentucky border, right?
Yeah, not too bad. I think we're like 45, 50 minutes away.
That's totally doable. Awesome. So the next song you have for us is Hardwood Floors by Charles Wesley Goodwin. It's Goodwin. Godwin. Godwin. I read, you know, you read something and you don't process it properly. Anyway, what made you chose this song?
I've had this one on repeat for months. And I mean, one thing, I love fiddle. So the fiddle in it, I love. It's upbeat, it's romantic. I love all his music, but this song in particular is just so well written and so much fun at the same time. It was probably one of the inspirations for like the sound of Wild Woman. I kind of want it to be kind of like this, like when I was writing it. I am inspired by pretty much all of his music. He's a really good storyteller.
Yeah, he's really good. Awesome. So here is Hardwood Floors by Charles Wesley Godwin. So you just released your EP called Wild Woman. Can you tell us a bit about that project and how that came about?
Yeah. It started with, you know, the self-titled Wild Woman. And then I started to kind of put the songs together. And some are songs I wrote a couple years ago that I kind of pulled back out and dusted off. And some I wrote this year. And I wanted sort of, it's funny because I originally wanted to do like a blues southern rock sound, and then it turned into like this folky country sound. And some songs have a little more of a bluesy tone to them, but and then I realized, I'm like, that's kind of where my heart is. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna keep going with that. That's what I like. That's what I like to sing.
Awesome. Well, I can kind of hear like the bluesy,
Mhm.
a little bit of southern rock vibe in
Yeah.
it. It has that sort of darker kind of tones to that,
Yeah.
and it's really cool. I really like it.
Thank you.
So, sort of off that album or EP, the next song you have for us is your song called "Martyr." So, what's the story behind that song?
So Martyr, just about people that I've had in my life. I don't know if you ever met someone that would like be hurtful and then try to twist it around, like, you know, they're the victim or whatever, even though they're the one causing all the pain or problems or whatever. And, you know, I kind of had to deal with someone like that. So I ended up kind of just writing about that experience. And a lot of people have come up to me when I've played it live and they're like, I know exactly, you know, what this feels like. I know exactly what this song means, which makes me a little sad. I'm like, oh, that's a lot. It's happening a lot more common than I thought. But it was just kind of like a self-empowerment song, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely had people like that in my life. And they like push and push and push, and then you like freak out on them, and they're like, "What?"
Right. Oh, I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
Oh, thank you. Well, we got a good song out of it, or you got a good song out of it.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
So here is "Martyr." So, what motivates you to keep working towards your dreams?
Um, you know, it's funny. It's kind of like I have this vision and I just don't really look back. I'm just like, and I don't really care if I'm never like a big superstar. I just want to get my music out there and I'm going to do it until I die, whether if anything happens with it or not, you know. I can't stop at this point. And that was definitely like the hardest thing with when COVID hit and we all had to stop playing for a bit. And it felt like something was missing, you know. And so I'm thankful now that we get to play a little bit more. And I've had friends ask me, you know, what's plan B? And like, you know, I work and do other things too for money, but and I'm just like, what plan B? This is it. Like, this is just what I'm gonna do.
Go all in.
Yeah.
Why not? You know, you only got, it's one life. You gotta go for it. You know.
Yeah, I don't want to regret it if I didn't try later.
Yeah, and I think too, like, as an artist myself, I understand that, and it's sort of like a lot of people don't go for their dreams, and a lot of people will just think about it and sit on it, and I think it's really, you know, special and important that, you know, people like you are going for your dreams and showing other people that they can, no matter like how old they are, how much experience they have, or whatever it is.
Oh, thank you.
That's great.
I hope, you know, if there's anything, I hope that I do inspire people to go for it, because it makes me happy when I see people like just shooting for the stars. Because why, yeah, like you said, why not?
Yeah. Awesome. So like, what's sort of like a really cool experience you've had with your music so far, or something that stood out?
Let's see here. I got to play the Crystal Palace in Bakersfield, it's Buck Owens' stage that he owned.
Oh, cool.
And, it's a really cool stage. I didn't get to play it with people in it because of COVID. It was just a live stream.
Oh, cool. Well, whatever.
One day I hope to come back with people in it, but that was still like when I stepped on the stage, I'm like, oh, there's like greats that have played here. Oh my god! So that was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. All right. So the next song you have for us is 700,000 Rednecks by Nikki Lane, which she's really cool. I had never heard of her before. So thank you for introducing me to her.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
Oh, she is. I wish I was half as cool.
You know, me too. So what made you choose this song?
I love all her music anyways, but this song in particular I love. I like songs just about being on the road. And I'm just kind of like living vicariously through her through this song. And there's one line that I like in particular, and it's like, I drive long hours, I don't get to shower, and I ain't gonna brag about the pay. And I just, every time I listen to that song, I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, here is 700,000 Rednecks by Nikki Lane. So what does country music mean to you?
That's an interesting question. I absolutely love country music, and that's something that I'm always worried that people aren't gonna think I'm like country enough, because sometimes some people make you feel like you need to prove yourself. And so for a long time I just said I was folk. And then with this EP, I'm like, I'm gonna call it country and see what happens. And so far so good. People have been like, pretty accepting of it, and I'm happy about that. But country to me, it's similar to folk in that it's just music for the people.
Yeah, that's great. And there is sort of this like weird, like, there's no subgenres in country, but there are.
There is.
And we have to embrace the subgenre.
Right.
It's not just what we hear on the radio, because I think doing that we really limit ourselves too, because there's so much other great country music that doesn't get the exposure just because it's not radio friendly.
Right. And I love like a lot of like red dirt country and Texas country too. And one thing I've always liked about especially that kind of country is the stories.
Yeah.
Something I look for, and I try to do myself if I can, is either tell a story, paint a picture, or just convey an emotion. And I think country does that pretty well.
Yeah. And I think you do that very well.
Oh, thank you.
So, going into back to your music. Oh, yes. I mean it though. That's why I asked you on though too, because I think you're so cool, and I really love your music. So back to your music. The last song of yours is "Buried Bones." So what's the story behind that one?
The Buried Bones. It's kind of like just getting away from like a bad situation and just moving towards a positive new start. So that's kind of where that came from. It's like, all right, just letting go of the past and moving forward. It's just another story song. But that one I ended up writing that one in a couple hours. Sometimes songs take me like months to finish, and that one just kind of came out. And I was recording, and I was only going to have 4 songs on it. And then I was like, wait, I have one more. Like, I recorded in my friend Kyle Appleton's garage. Okay. So, I was like, wait, I have one more. I don't know if it's going to turn out because I just wrote it, but it ended up turning out, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Was it about like a personal experience or just sort of somebody else's experience?
A little bit. It's mostly a story song, but there's a little truth in there. Right. But I am moving across the country.
It's true. Awesome. Well, here is Buried Bones. All right, so we'll do 5 quick questions. Whatever comes to the top of your mind first, it's just fun, like whatever.
Okay.
They're very hard-hitting questions, all right? So here, what is your favorite snack food?
Oh, hot Cheetos.
Nice. One place you'd love to travel to?
Guatemala.
Huh. It's a different one.
Yeah.
Why Guatemala?
Oh, it's funny. So I had an Uber driver 5 years ago from Antigua, Guatemala, and that was never a place I ever thought about. And he told me all these stories about the places to check out and the food to eat, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So now it's been on my travel list.
Awesome. Favorite holiday?
Oh, Thanksgiving. Just for the food, basically.
Yeah. What else? What other reason is there to celebrate a holiday? Yeah. Cats or dogs?
Both. I have one of each.
Nice. Favorite TV show?
Let's see here. Right now, probably Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah.
That one's been hooked on that one.
Nice. All right, and where can people find you online if they want to listen to you or check you out?
Oh, you can listen to my music under McCaslin Blue on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you want to stream it. And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok under McCaslin Blue as well.
Awesome. And I'll have that all linked below in the show description. So you just hit the link and you don't have to search for it.
Oh.
And do you have anything else coming up, like for the year that you want to talk about or you're excited about, or thoughts, plans?
So I don't have any gigs booked yet. I'm playing my last 2 gigs tomorrow and Saturday in California for a bit. And I'm just kind of waiting to move and get settled before I book anything. But I've been writing a lot, so I'm hoping to release another single or 2 this year and hopefully book some things in Tennessee and Kentucky if I can.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to it.
Well, thank you.
So the last song you picked is Jerry Lee by Josh Morningstar. Why'd you pick this song?
This song is so much fun. So he writes about Jerry Lee's life, and he was a very, controversial musician. And so he writes about like everything, like good and bad, and about him. And I really want to write a song that's like kind of like a biography about someone like this one day. I haven't figured out like who I want to write about or how I'm going to do it yet, but this song like inspires me so much. Every time I listen to the song, I'm like, this is so brilliant. I want to do something like this.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, I guess maybe like the person will come to you.
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe in a dream. Right.
Anyway, well, thanks so much for coming on. I really enjoyed talking to you, and thanks so much for listening, and be sure to come back next week for more country music.